we are really in a world of the pain is coming, isn't it? I mean, the pain is coming to all of us.
I think it's important that people understand that the pain is already happening on a cellular level. They're killing us with nanobots. They're killing us with additives in the atmosphere. That's why Mike Adams and Celeste, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, will be at the Gen 6 conference, and I'm telling you that you need to get her reports. But beyond that, Doug, people always think of the knock on the door, the red flag is the red list. Let me just say that. The point is that you need to be thinking not only tactically in that realm, but practically. What are you eating that's poisonous? I remember seeing the list, Celeste, of all of the food additives with human baby parts, and it was so disgusting, It was so disgusting. And even in the organic food world, that stuff still rains down. So this is a supernatural, sinister, evil plot and plan. So please, ladies and gentlemen, understand this. Celeste, if I had to ask you, and I'm going to put you on the spot, okay, for my sake, and for Doug's sake and everyone's sake, given what you're seeing in all the journals, all the publications you're aware of as an insider, you know where to look, you live there, what is your time frame in just seeing everything that's going on? The time frame for where everything changes, it's been gradual. But do you see it continuing to be gradual, or do you think there's going to be a shockwave happen and it's going to get people's attention?
I think we are already seeing the shockwave. I think that this fall is going to be brutal. And if you don't see it, I'm sorry, you're not looking. There are ostriches. If you stick your head in the sand, you're not going to be seeing what's blasting at you. But it's begun. Here where I live, the temperatures are 30 to 50 degrees below normal. This is the summer. I experience minus 50 degrees in the winter normally. I am preparing for minus 100 this winter. And I just talked with my wood guy last night, and who goes up into the high country, and he said he's also expecting a bad winter. He said everything, all the signs are there. I can see that here with all the animals, the bees, the ants, the chipmunks, everybody's saying, well, and the Lord told me, shut down your farm by September 1st. Have it all put to bed. Have all your food harvested by September 1st. That's what the Lord told me.
So, can I ask what part of the planet you might live on? You don't have to be specific, but are we talking Pacific Northwest, east, Northeast, or?
I live in the Rocky Mountains in Montana.
Okay, so, but this is going to be nationwide, globally, basically.
Yes. As a matter of fact, I had to bump my regular scheduled show today to be on your show, but I was going to brief my patrons on cold weather, tips for cold weather growing and tips for cold weather survival, because basically we are going to be living in Siberian type climate, and so we need to get used to that fact and get ready for that. Some of you will have more time, and others like myself, no.
Okay.
It's done now.
I want to just say this real quick, Stephen, with your patience, but Celeste, I was speaking with my neighbor who's lived here forever, and she's experienced many seasons, and she grows things, crops, and she said something's wrong with the weather. I mean, just this morning when I saw her, she said something is wrong with the weather. And everything that you had gone through, described in terms of crops and such, she had mentioned about, and right now we even have the leaves that are turning early, the lack of certain animals that we usually see. So you're right on the money, and I think your time frame is 100%. And thank you, by the way, for bumping your normal broadcast to come on today. Appreciate it.
Well, hey, Doug.
Yeah.
And Celeste, did I hear you correctly that you're saying that by September 1st to have all your crops in, or what did you just say?
So that's what the Lord told me. Have all your crops in, have your farm put to bed, which there's winterizing that needs to be done on a farm. So that's what the Holy Spirit told me to do. And so I am doing it. I'm running around like a crazy woman, but it will be done.
Yeah, that's days from now.
Yes.
Yeah, and this is the thing too, Doug. This is the thing that is accelerating. The word now, acceleration, well, I don't think you can even use a word like that anymore. I can say this, it's spiritually imploding. Everything is coming at once. And Celeste, when you were doing your studies for FEMA and everything, you all hear the story, or we heard the story, 3 days food, but with the trucking industry, the canning industry, everything is shutting down because there's no food. How do you see that? Or when you were, what do you call it? Worst case gaming? What do you call that in your world? When you plan for the worst and you have all these exercises around them?
What is worst case scenario?
Pardon?
Worst case scenario.
And worst case scenario, tell people that how you see this worst case scenario unfolding, not just with gardening. We've already covered that, but bottom line it for you. So if you're in a group or a committee and you guys are bottom lining it, bottom line it for everybody, because this is probably Doug. This will be one of the most important shows for the people that get it. Okay, so go ahead, please, and I'll shut up because you've got to take. Bottom line it. And listen, you've heard me say that for 20 years, overuse it, but bottom line it. Don't hold back.
So you need shelter. I would say consider your shelter at minus 100 degrees. Even if you live in Arizona, you're going to have to start thinking about that. Store seeds. If you have food stored, that's great, but this is, I don't know how long this will take, the process. We're looking at long term. In the past, what we've enjoyed for the last 100 years or so is a brief time compared to our planet naturally gravitates to cold, an ice age. Look at Psalm 147. That was my wake-up moment. I was watering tomatoes was my wake-up moment that the Lord could take and freeze the planet in a second and the next day have it searing hot. And you have to be prepared for both. You need to think water source. What are you going to do for water if it's frozen or if it's scorching? And we just have to prepare for those extremes. Your clothing. Make sure, if you live in Arizona, make sure you have a warm hat, gloves, a winter coat, maybe some long underwear. And those in the north, make sure that you have a pair of shorts or a tank top or a T-shirt that if it gets searing hot the next day, at the Lord's command, you can do that. So those are some of the things. Think outside the box. I was out doing gardening and I thought it was going to be an ordinary day, and I found these like parasitic orange tendrils strangulating my plants. We're going to see life forms, as Steve's talked about for many years, giants. We're going to see spirits, demons. You're going to have to start thinking outside of the box. And one of the problems with the cosmic rays is they thwart our ability to think outside the box and then make decisions. So that's one of the real important things that you need to know. When these cosmic rays happen, and they're going to be happening in increasing amounts, there's going to be many behavior changes, and you're going to have to overcome them. And the best way that I know how to overcome them is through the Bible and through prayer and being in Jesus Christ, because then you're a creation.
It's critical that people are always wanting information, but what Celeste does, she walks people through it. And so, ladies and gentlemen, again, I can tell you, that her report on Seven Thunders, I believe, is so prophetic and so important that it's one of the things that you need to get a hold of her for. And what do you charge for that?
I haven't put that up for sale yet.
Okay. Well, it's that important. So, Doug, here's the deal. I'm watching earthquake reports come into me that normal people don't get. It's not bragging. It's just coming in. Now they're smelling sulfur dioxide in the Salton Sea. And, oh, boy, that's below sea level. We're seeing that the original earthquake off of Bandon, Oregon was 6.4. Doug, the USGS and others have gag orders on them from being able to tell people what's getting ready to happen. It's hit like a ton of bricks.
Marvelous.
Yes.
Shake, rattle, and roll.
Yeah,
there is one thing. So way back when, we could have all been, of course, don't forget, many of these reports were CIA and agency classified, so we did not have access to them, we as the general public. But there were 3 scientists, young scientists, on the way. There were thousands of microquakes off of Washington State, maybe 17 years ago. And they had placed instrumentation, and we would have known a lot of what was going on geologically and under the oceans with this movement and what we are facing. And unfortunately, they were mysteriously killed on the way to pick up those instruments. And I'll never forget the day. It was a straight stretch of road. It was a logging truck, supposedly. It was clear weather. There was no reason for that accident to happen other than to prevent those men from getting accessing the data. And then what happened is that when whoever did get that data later on down the road, it never made it to the public. So it was buried so that we would not see it.